Hello, I am Andy Checo, and I am joined today with Brenda Mendoza. We're both co-chairs of this year HPRA National Bravo Awards. Today, we're going to be talking about how to write an award-winning submissions. Our deadline for submissions is coming up, and we will be offering you an overview of the program and some tips on how to better position your submission so it could be a winning entry.
So what we'll cover in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we'll talk briefly about what the Bravo Awards are. We'll walk you through our categories, the criteria, and then we'll walk you through our platform, judges, and tips on submitting, along with some reminders.
So the HPRA National Bravo Awards are really the highest accolade in multicultural marketing. The program is in its ninth year, and it's really opening to agencies, brands, and organizations to enter their work in the multicultural space, whether that is a PR specific campaign or an integrated campaign. And then, as part of the program, we also have certain honorees that are part of the program at the actual event, which is taking place on October 12th in Chicago this year.
I'll now walk you briefly through our award categories. As you can see, we've got 23 categories that you can submit for. We're really proud of the categories that we're presenting this year, and I'm going to touch briefly on just a couple based on some of the frequently asked questions that we've received on specific entries. I'll touch on the first one, Agency of the Year. For this category, it's really important that you submit more than one entry. So if you think you have a strong shot of winning Agency of the Year, we'd like you to submit another entry, just so that way we can see the breadth of your work. And also, so again, it would be more than one entry for this. Another frequently asked question is number 14, which is the Latin America campaign. The requirement for this entry is that your campaign or program should have been executed in a country in Latin America, or maybe all of Latin America. So we definitely want to see what work's being done in Latin America, since we do have several agencies and companies that do focus in that geographic area. Another question we've gotten is about the multicultural PR program category, which is number 17. The requirement for this particular entry is that you have to have two or more multicultural groups represented in the campaign or program. So maybe you worked on a campaign where your target audience was Latino and Latinx and or the African American community. So we're really looking at this, across various groups. I think this is this is our commitment to continue to showcase the diversity of our communities. And so really looking for more than two target audiences here. And then two particular entries, two new entries that we're really excited about this year. Number 15 is the LGBTQ+ campaign. Again, as an organization, we're really committed to diversity and inclusion ourselves. But what's important to note about this category is that it is not the Latinx LGBTQ community. This is any campaign that you've worked on that is representing this particular group. Another new entry is social equity. Obviously, there's been a rise in a lot of activism or helping counsel corporations through a lot of social issues. This is a category that represents the work that any of you may have done. And Andy, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. So next, I'm going to be sharing some of the criteria. As mentioned before, Bravo Awards are really open to PR, advertising, marketing agencies, nonprofits, and the public sector. Including Puerto Rico. So if you're doing some work in Puerto Rico, those campaigns are also eligible to enter for Bravo Awards. To submit all materials, you will need, everything is done digitally, and you would just need to visit our platform, and we'll show you how to do that coming up. But it is important that the campaigns have been implemented between January 1st, 2022 and March 31st, 2023. So that is the time frame for work that qualify for the campaign. You will complete one entry form per entry, and you just be sure to designate which category you're entering for. We really need to know that information to make sure that your entry gets to the judges with the right pool of candidates. Also, you must address all the questions that will be in the form, and each question is limited to 300 word limit. That way, we have to make sure that the content that you're entering is very targeted, to the point, but yet you provide enough information that the judges can really evaluate the work that has been done. You will be asked about research, your goals, your objectives for the campaign, your audience, strategies and tactics. And again, we're going to go into more details on what the form entails coming up. Supporting materials are really important. You will find a place where you can upload supporting materials, whether that is the press clippings, press releases, videos. You will also need to provide a 100-word summary. That summary is what we will be used to describe your campaign at the actual event. So it is important that, in those 100 words, we really get the gist of what was accomplished with your work. And then, after you enter, obviously the information that's become property of HPRA. And the only persons that will have access to the information will be the judges who will be reviewing the information and the HPRA staff.
So, I was going to just add, Andy. So as you think about your entry and you think about which categories you're going to submit for, I think looking at your PR plan, looking at the recap you provided the client, all of that information, you should have that up front so you can start to build your case for why you should win that, win that category.
Right. And it is important that you actually do submit answers to all the questions in the form. Otherwise, your entry might be disqualified. So I'm going to walk you through the process of how do you get to the platform. So here, if you go to hprausa.org and you go to the Bravo, you can either just click Bravo where you see it on the upper menu, and you will get to this page. So this is what you will see. On the next slide, at the bottom of the page, it will take you to the Bravo specific. So here's we're going to have information on who our honorees are, but also resources for you for those who are entering the award. So if you go towards the end of this page, what you'll see is the next slide, which are the resources. One, you'll have the option to click and submit your form through the entry platform. We also have a toolkit available, and this toolkit is really important because it has all the details and directions on how to enter, but it also has a description on each one of those categories. So you will have, every category will have a paragraph explaining what that category entails, and that way you're better informed when you're writing your entries. And lastly, if your agency or organization is interested into sponsoring Bravo, you will find a sponsorship package here that really lets you know the different categories and sponsorship opportunities. Please do keep in mind that we do tailor opportunities. So if that's an interest, you can just reach out to us and we'll work with you on shaping out a specific sponsorship for your organization.
So now I'll walk you through what I call the heart and soul of the platform and how to submit the entry. Andy just walked you through how to get to the platform and our toolkit and our sponsorship materials. What I'm going to walk you through is, again, is the actual platform and some screenshots of what you'll find. Really important, and obviously the first step is when you click on the link to enter, you've got to create your login, which is your user and your password. That will take you straight to this home page. Welcome to the 2023 Bravo Awards. And as you can see on the lower page here, you'll see a URL link that says Apply Now. What you'll do is when you apply now, the very first page is really just basic details. But one of the first questions it's going to ask you is, what is the name of your campaign or program? It's going to ask you who you are. It'll ask you for your address. So again, a lot of what I consider, general information. I think what's important to note is that 2 call outs on that first page will be, should you win the award, what would what title or name would you want on the award? Another question that you'll get asked is, what is our role in the campaign? And really what we ask there is, if you're an agency, it's really, letting us know that you were asked by your ex-client to create a digital campaign for XYZ. If you're a corporation, maybe it's that on behalf of your company, you and your team were tasked with developing a PR strategy that was supposed to do XYZ within the US Hispanic market. So those are just, again, high level general questions that we ask. Important to note that should you win the award, the individual who is listed on this platform is the person that we do contact, and that we do also confirm once they win what the name of the award is, and oftentimes they are the individuals that do also get the award. Once you've filled out the general questions and clicked on next, you will get to the actual entry information for your specified category. I think, Andy might have mentioned this earlier on. I think it's really important for you actually to probably have a Microsoft Word document or what have you, where you've already outlined your objective, strategy, tactics. So that way, when you get to our platform, it really just becomes a cut and paste job. You've already thought through every single question that we're asking. So again, the first three that you see here is objectives, strategy, and tactics. I think really important to know, one of the key pieces of feedback that we get from judges is that sometimes there tends to be a little bit of a confusion around strategy and tactics. I think simply put, tactics are not a strategy. A strategy really is the framework, the roadmap that outlines how you are going to meet those business objectives for your client or your company. So again, issuing a press release, a media event, an influencer, those really are tactics, and that's where we and the judges would expect to see that. Once you've filled out your objective, strategy, and tactics, it will then ask you for execution. And this really was, how was your campaign activated? It will then ask you for your evaluation of success. Really, here's where we talk measurement, right? This is where you need to be able to demonstrate how successful your program and or campaign was, how those results directly correlated with you meeting the client and or your company's objectives. And then in the campaign summary section, this is really, no more than 100 words. And really what we use the campaign summary for is, should you be a finalist in that category, when we have our dinner and we're announcing the winners of the categories, we actually refer to the campaign summary. We want to make sure that when we talk about your campaign summary when we talk about your campaign and announce it as a winner, that we accurately reflect and describe what your campaign was all about. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Andy.
if I were to add, Brenda, on the measuring side, it's really important if you have benchmarking, right? What were you set out to do, and where did you ended up in terms of benchmarks? If you have year-over-year comparison, if it is a program that is a multi-year program, how did you build into the success of that program? So what you want to do is really build a compelling story that the judges can follow, and clearly have those objectives outlined, clearly articulate what did you set out to do, and then on the evaluation form, prove that that was accomplished, right? And so that way the judges will get a more, we'll see the whole story of what you were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and just to build on telling a compelling story, you'll see that at the very bottom, once you've filled out your execution, your metrics, and your campaign summary, it's going to ask you for supporting documents. And this is really your opportunity to show how, to really visually show how you told that story, right? So this allows you to upload your press releases, any materials you developed, maybe videos, images, what have you. And then from there, it's going to have you you'll click add to cart, and then you will finalize the process and pay for your entry.
So in terms of judging, what are judging really looking for? Obviously, the judging panel that we have every year is a panel that is composed of PR professionals, academia, industry leaders, media personalities, and all of these are folks that are not directly associated with the organization. So they really do not have a connection to HPRA, but they do carry the expertise and the know-how to know what is a successful campaign in the communications industry. Again, the judges will evaluate each campaign on the merit of addressing each section of the entry, including your statement, the objective, the research, and that campaign will be judged in comparison to other entries that are in the same category. And
Yeah,
you know,
and I'll just add to the
yeah,
judging, but I think one of the things we've worked really hard on in the last several years is to build also a judging panel that's diverse from a geographic standpoint. So I think that's also very, important to know that we really do look for the top-notch veterans in their industry that are geographically located, so that we make sure we're just representing the different top U.S. Hispanic markets as much as we can.
right.
From there, we're going to go into, just at a high level, a couple of submission tips, and some of it, you may have heard Andy and I already touch lightly upon this previously, but you'll see, when you really look at our tips from 1 through 4, it's really about taking a step back and looking at how do you make a compelling argument for why your campaign or program should win. So lay out your objectives up front. Be very specific about your target audience. If you had insights that you were able to use to help you guide your strategy, please add that in there. And do not build from scratch if you don't have to. Again, I think all of us know that, especially on the agency side and even on the corporation side, we always have to develop PR plans or communications plans that outline our objective, strategy, and tactics, budget. I'm sure many of you already have all this information available to you from your plans, your recaps. So really kind of pull all that information together and think through, how you're going to build your case.
Sure. And just adding to that, just to highlight a few others, it is important to establish that connection between the brand and popular culture. How is this program really relevant to everyday's audience, right? But also, even if you don't have that connection, is your campaign driving or creating popular culture? So we do know that, through the power of our work, we do have the power of driving popular culture and creating what is known as popular culture. Also, it is important that your mission is bigger than the brand, right? Obviously, for many of us who work on the agency side, it's all about the brands that we're representing, but the work that we're doing really gets celebrated because there's something bigger there. So, it is really important to have that clear distinction as to what the mission was for the program. And obviously, enables the brand driving that mission, but through the lens of something bigger, right? And then, it is important also to think long term. Again, I mentioned the example that if you have a multi-year program, it's sort of articulating, what has been done in the past and where's that program going in the future. So thinking long term, positioning a campaign long term could be something beneficial. And lastly, do not be redundant. A lot of folks tend to repeat the wording that they use from one question to the other, and that really disengages the judges, right? So you want the judges to be engaged. So just make sure that when you're writing the content for the entry, it's very to the point and not redundant with other answers that you might have provided.
And with that, we'll just wrap it up with a couple of reminders.
Sure. So our deadline is coming up. Is June 16th. But after that, we do have the late deadline. So the absolute last day to enter Bravo is going to be July 7th. And there are 2 different rates for entering. If you're a member, there's a discount code. We do encourage you to reach out to HPRA. The email is listed here as info@hprausa.org. And that way, if you have any questions during the process, you can also submit questions through that email, and we'll make sure to get back to you with the information needed for you to have a successful entry.
And that really sums it up. I just want to personally add how excited all of us are at HPRA about our upcoming dinner in Chicago on October 12th at the Drake Hotel. We're incredibly excited about the honorees that we're going to be honoring that day. But most importantly, we're really excited about the opportunity to showcase all the amazing work that all the agencies and companies have done on behalf of the U.S. Hispanic consumer and any other multicultural audience.
I think that's a good wrap up, Brenda. I think we're good. Well, best of luck to everyone. And again, we hope to see you in Chicago on October 12th.
We hope to see you in Chicago. Thank you, everyone.